Today's story is another one of those that makes you just think about the people who are around you. I'm going to put it out there. We all know statistically you're far more likely to meet your fate at the hands of somebody that you know, but nonetheless, it never makes it easier to come to terms with. Maybe they're in a position of power that ultimately makes you believe they're a good human being. But too often do we hear about these cases where people in such positions are actually our worst enemies. Now we get to October 2004 and love strikes again. So she meets Jordan Ranham at church and he's actually a farmer. So bear in mind, they've got a real similarity. So they start a relationship and apparently Jordan was understandably smitten with her. And in her final year of university, things are starting to go really well. I think we all have relationships where there is an expectation regarding the way that they act habitually when we contact them. You might contact me and think, Emma's being rude because I texted 3 days ago. My life is just chaos. It's beautiful chaos, but there are times where I just will not respond. So then we have the horror for the family of a second trial. That begins on October the 29th, 2007. Now the prosecution really focus on the specifics of the DNA evidence. It almost feels as if in the first trial, they genuinely thought they had him. They were like, this kind of DNA evidence, where it was found, it's obvious there was a struggle. But that hadn't been enough. So they bring in Dr. Michael Bork. Now, Dr. Michael Bork is very well versed in court and he's used a great deal. So he's a forensic science expert who testified that the amount of DNA under Mindy's fingernails was not the kind of amount of DNA transfer that would happen in a secondary transfer scenario and would definitely be a primary transfer. So now the jury are being told by an expert, and believe me, this guy's got a big history of being an expert witness in these cases and being very good at it and also very compelling. And when somebody is very compelling and very sure, it helps the jury to be sure because the jury's like, hey, I'm just going to rely on this particular individual who knows their stuff. And it was powerful. So the result of this trial was that Moe was found guilty. He was later sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And Mindy's mother, Eunice, she spoke at the sentencing. And she actually said, though she forgives Moe and her heart goes out to his family and children, she won't forget what he did to Mindy.